Hello, this is part 2 of adjustment reactions. So we were talking about the difference between, or understanding that there are probably more than one. There is probably more than one emotion that you're dealing with. Some of it is going to be like a claustrophobia or a panic or feeling trapped. Some of it is going to be a sorrow. Some of it's going to be a loneliness. There are going to be a lot of emotions. If you can separate those and say, okay, I'm going to deal with the fact that I feel trapped. And let's just start with that, because a lot of people do. A lot of people are used to go, 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 and now they can't, and they feel like they're claustrophobic, frankly. Okay, so reframing your situation is key. For example, there are times when I get on an airplane, and I actually enjoy flying, but there was a time where I was very anxious to fly, not because I was afraid the plane was going to crash, but anyway, just because I couldn't leave. I didn't like the fact that I was trapped in a seat for hours and I couldn't go anywhere. Like, I had no privacy. I had none of my own. I didn't have anywhere to go. So what I started to do, I remembered when I was little, I loved to curl up and make a nest. I loved to make forts. I loved to be in my room. I loved little cubbies that I could curl up in, or that I could decorate, or whatever. So I got to where when I got into a plane, instead of thinking there's all these people around me, I started thinking of my seat as my little cubby, my little couch fort, my little happy place where I had my water, and I had my books, and I had my snacks, and I had my earbuds, and this. So I wasn't thinking about this, I was thinking about this. And that makes a huge difference. That's why one of the first things I did when I moved into the RV is clean it and organize it and decorate it. Because it was key. It was important that I felt like this wasn't a tent that I was just crashing on, or trying to tuck myself up under an eave until the storm passes. I needed to feel like this was my space. And I still am. I'm still thinking of different things that I can do. I've got some Christmas lights here that I'm going to string up, because I like Christmas lights. They're not for fighting a pandemic. They are because I like them, and they're pretty, and they make this RV feel like my home. So that's one thing you could do. Another thing, if you're having anxiety and panic attacks, let me just very quickly run down to panic attacks. Panic attack is nothing more than the fight or flight reflex happening at the wrong time. It's not magic. It's not creepy. It's not, whatever. It is simply your body has reacted like it needs to fight or flee. And so it does, the heart pounds, and it starts breathing way too much, and things are too loud, and scents are too strong, and your fingers tingle, and your lips tingle, and your stomach is upset. Okay, all of those have very basic, kind of boring explanations. The reason why your heart is pounding is to get the blood to the muscles that need to run or to fight, your arms and legs. The reason why you're breathing so fast is to get all that oxygenated blood into your muscles, so that the blood that goes into your muscles is oxygenated. The reason why your stomach is upset is because you don't need to spend, if you're fighting a tiger, you don't really need to spend time digesting. You just need to run, or you need to fight. The reason why you hear things too loudly, or you smell things too strongly, are because you need to know, like if you're in a jungle, you need those heightened senses, so you can say, wait a minute, I smell a river, or wait a minute, I hear something behind me, that could be another tiger. So all these different things, and then your lips and your fingers tingling are because you have so much oxygen. Well, the thing is, you're not burning that oxygen, so it makes you feel like, oh my gosh, my body is like wigging out, and I don't know what's wrong, and I have to escape, and I can't breathe. It's too, you get yourself all caught up in this thing, and it's nothing but too much breathing when you don't need to. So what you do at that point, you don't have enough carbon dioxide, you have too much oxygen, so you just exhale. Just exhale. Calm down. Hold the bottom of the exhale for a couple of beats, not to where you're like, okay, I'm out of oxygen, but just like, and then you breathe in for a very slow count of 3. And then you breathe out for a slow count of 5. And you just keep doing in for 3, out for 5. And what you're doing is you're building the carbon dioxide back up in your blood and reducing the oxygen. And that's literally going to, in just a couple of minutes, the panic attack is going to fade because your body can't keep up that level of adrenaline. And you're taking the fuel from the fire. If you don't want to count, you can breathe into a paper bag, which is what they used to give you when you were hyperventilating, which is another word for panic attack, is they give you a paper bag because you're rebreathing your carbon dioxide. That brings your oxygen levels to norm, and then the symptoms start to fade. So if you're starting to feel, I'm trapped, I'm claustrophobic, I can't stand this, I gotta get out, that urge to escape is part of the panic attack. Slow down your breathing, calm yourself down, and just keep practicing. And it might be, if you have a lot of anxiety, it might be that you have to do this like every 3 minutes for hours. You know what I mean? Your brain will learn. Your brain will start to get the habit of not over breathing, and that will help you tremendously. If you are having if you are like overwhelmed with emotion and you can't sort them, and you're like, I can't, I know I want to be faithful, and I know I want to be calm, and I know I want to be this, but then there's this, and then there's that, and I'm having these dreams, and then I'm stressed, and then blah, blah, blah. And there's so much going on. I cannot recommend enough Bubble Shooter, or Tetris, or Bejeweled. Something, a game that's shiny, that requires little tiny decisions that are not timed. You don't need the adrenaline to beat the clock. Just little tiny decisions of, okay, I'm going to shoot this, or I'm going to match these, or I'm going to put this piece here. And play that, honestly, as long as you need to. When my grandmother died, I had a lot of trouble. Let me explain why I say that. Because when your brain needs to process emotions, in order to keep from being overwhelmed by them, you can give your brain something little to work on, and it'll do the emotion thing back here while you're thinking, you're making these little decisions in front of here, and your brain will process better than if it's just flooded with a whole bunch of emotions. If you look it up, there are studies that show that soldiers who after a bad mission, who are given Tetris, have reduced incidences of PTSD because they play the game and they process their emotions in the background, like running a background program, and then they've processed it well. They didn't rush the emotions through and just throw them in every, whatever, and then it causes chaos in their brain. They've organized. When my grandmother passed, I had a really hard year. It started with my grandmother passing and ended with my husband with a brain tumor. Like, the year kind of sucked. And when my grandmother passed, I played Bubble Shooter for like 2 days. Just sat there, click, 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 click. And I needed that to process that grief. And then when my husband had a brain tumor, and everything was fine, and he had his surgery, and he was recovering, and I had held it together. The Lord had been incredibly faithful. Oh my goodness, he was so incredibly faithful to me. At the very end of it, I've got to check my time. I played Bejeweled Twist for hours. I ate lime potato chips, and I played Bejeweled Twist for hours so that I could process. And I would just, click, 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 munch, click, 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 munch. I still love lime chips, and I still have Bejeweled Twist, actually. You can find it on Steam. So if you have somebody in your household, maybe a young adult or a young person who is struggling, have them do this. Don't pick like Farm Town, because that isn't, you need the constant little decisions to make your brain be like, oh, here. You can't, but don't make it Destiny 2 or any of Call of Duty or anything like that. You don't need that. That's not what you're looking for. You don't want anything that's adrenaline, because your body's already filled with adrenaline. If it's having panic attacks, it's just all adrenaline and cortisol, and it doesn't need any more of that. It needs calm, click, decision with something shiny. That you can kind of tune out, but not really. You can tune out half of it. That's what you're looking for. So I talked about your breathing, and I talked about your a distraction. Have a good cry. Just wailing. Okay, well, maybe not wailing, especially if you have people in the household that are going to be like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with mom, or what's wrong with dad? But go in the shower and just cry. I mean, you get to the point where you just cry those gagging cries, whatever you need to. That'll be cathartic. Try to do that, especially if you have if you have children around. Try to do that in a place where they are not going to see you. If they see you, like sad, and they see you cry a little bit, then that's okay. That teaches them emotions are good. If they see you have a full-on come apart, then they are going to feel like they have to save you, and they can't be open with you about their emotions, and that is unsafe for a child. And now I have to sneeze. One moment. So sorry. I think I can pause that so you don't have to listen to my sneezes, but I'm not for sure. And I've already got so many minutes invested in this that I don't have to do it over again. So excuse me for that. So that is the breathing, the bejeweled, the crying. Stay away from alcohol. Like I have no problem. I'm not here to talk about whether you should drink or shouldn't drink, except don't drink now. Because it seems like that's going to calm you down. It seems like that's going to like ease things, but you never want to drink out of a strong emotion, ever. That's how bad drinking patterns start. So never drink when you're having a high stress situation. That's and your brain can't process. It's not going to process. If you need a break from the emotion, go to sleep. Take a Benadryl. I'm all about the Benadryl. A quarter Benadryl, especially if you're really anxious, in my opinion, just takes everything. A quarter dose of Benadryl, so it's like half a Benadryl, 12.5 milligrams. It just takes everything down a little bit so you can process it better. I'm trying to think if there's any more first aid. Reach out to people. Talk to your friends. Don't be isolated. Go anywhere. Go on Facebook and say, hey, does anybody want to chat? Go on a game and where you can chat with people. Just chat. Just talk to people. Your world is not your house. Your world is where your mind is. And so if you are talking to somebody in Japan, if you're talking to somebody in Australia, your horizon is that far. It's only the idea that we have to stay in this little square that makes us start to feel very claustrophobic. So, almost time to go. Okay. Very super quickly, I am blind in my left eye, in case anybody is wondering about this, and so I took off my glasses because I was getting a lot of glare, which I'm probably gonna have to put my glasses on, but that means I'm blind as a bat in my right eye and I can't see out of my left. There you go. So which I can't see out of my left anyway. So anyway, love you guys. I will talk to you again in a minute. I think I have more to say on this subject. Imagine that. But for now, just know I love you.